The Sporland division of Parker Hannifin proudly sponsors the Advanced Refrigeration Podcast. There are a lot of questions surrounding the transition to A2L refrigerants and a lot of talking heads disseminating nebulous answers. But when your technician is face-to-face with the first A2L transition project, where do you turn for real-world answers about this specific job? Parker Sporland's Virtual Engineer is an innovative online design tool to size and select the correct components for climate control and refrigeration applications. Get your A2L system flow and component selection answers in 3 simple steps. Enter your application details, size, and select products, then download your project files. It's that easy. Try it at absolutely no cost. Visit sporlin.com and navigate to the Resource Center. Parker Sporland, leading the charge.
Just get into it. You're all right with that.
Let's do it.
Oh, by the way, I'll tell you later. Never mind. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Advanced Refrigeration Podcast. Here are the hosts, Wetzel and Kevin Compass. You're home late. It's almost 7 o'clock. What happened?
Been home late every night this week. Been working on the north side of the city, and it is a fucking shit show to get home. From there, it's like a 2.5 hour ride, and we're doing rack conversions, so rack switchovers. So it's been a treat. Been bouncing from pumping things down to burning in TXVs to back to starting them back up, and then letting the fitters do the tie-ins in the overhead, then pulling vacuums and running back downstairs and starting stuff. And yeah, it's been a
wait. So you doing control conversions or refrigerant conversions?
Rack conversions. We're taking racks in 1991 Margalux racks and slapping some new Hussman racks in.
Oh, okay, cool.
Doing during a day, which is legit.
That's lame.
So much nicer. Yeah, so we're like repiping all this stuff, and this Margalux rack, like you just choke on yourself till like the fitters cut the lines loose because nothing holds. Just like they have all these defrost return check valves for the liquid lines. They go into like a discrete header, and there's no ball valve on it, just check valves. So they're all like 34 years old, 33 years old. So they all leak all the time. So it's like you pump it down, it's just gonna start building pressure slowly until you whack the line and just pinch it at the rack.
Sweet.
So today we did one rack in 3 days, like a fucking 15 circuit rack. That's with changing all the expansion valves. So
I was actually
speaking of a couple guys.
Speaking of expansion valves, someone asked me about doing a conversion, and he was trying to figure out the best time to change out the power heads. I know we talked.
We do it before.
Okay, do you just turn them in a little bit
before?
Yeah.
Yep.
That's what I told him.
We didn't change the power heads here. Like we did whole valves.
Oh, totally different gas, or
404 to 448. But like we did brand new valves for everything, and I'm glad we did because there was some like weird sizing discrepancies, and then there was a bunch of. But the only thing that sucks is there was a bunch of brand new islands we just put in at the store. They were all Danfoss valves, no removable power heads. So we were screwed on all those. And the glass doors, to be honest, I'm glad we did them because the 2 or 3 I pulled apart, the pins were all jammed up. So it was just better off to just change them all. But apparently the DDR had failed at some point in this rack because like almost every case is iced up in the store.
Sweet.
So I'm assuming it's probably in pieces like all these old Margalux ones are.
Well, at least you're ripping out the case. Wait, no, you're not. Oh, that's right. You're not ripping out the cases.
No.
You're just doing the rack.
The cases are all staying. Yeah, so I told the store today, I'm going to get to the glass doors. I'm like, oh, these are all iced up, so I don't know what you guys are going to do. Have a nice day. because they
Oh,
cases.
it's an OL. It's an OLDR, so it's freaking reversed. It fails
But
where it
it's-
just doesn't regulate.
I don't think it that. I think it literally came apart, being like 30 years old. It is legitimately probably original to the rack, and it probably came like every one of them I hear. Just, you hear them clanking around in these racks, like this is when they're energized. It's like clanking around, and you just hear metal on metal. I'm like, I don't know. But I looked in the electrical of this rack. I was like, oh my god, somebody aborted this thing.
Good thing
They did a control conversion at one point, and they went to CPC, and there is like thousands of wire nuts.
Please tell me you got some pictures.
I don't know who did this in Chicago, like to all these stores, but I hate you. It's just awful. There's so much air in this rack that, like, I think we had 3 systems out of 12 left on it. It was still 200 plus pounds of head pressure on a 0 degree day.
It wasn't just.
I'm not worried about. Oh, the condenser's destroyed too, but like there's so much air in this thing. 200 pounds of head pressure and a 65 degree drop leg. I'm like, yeah, great. It's efficient. Kept the rack running though. Kept the rack running.
Who needs head pressure controls when you got non-condensables in the system?
Hey, it kept the rack running overnight, and the gas defrost worked with 3 systems.
Not that I'm condoning it, but I'm assuming probably because the valves probably didn't hold back at the rack, so it was just
No, that was before we even started. The thing
I'm saying
had that much air in it.
No, I'm saying like bad practices because the valves probably at the rack probably didn't hold.
I'm sure it's the source from the rack's from 91.
You act like that's old, Kevin.
That's pretty old. I was 2.
I was 9.
You were like 17.
Wait, 92? No, I was born in 80. No, you said 91? I was born in 82.
91.
Not that fucking old.
God, Jesus. You're so fucking old.
Jesus.
All right, let's do it. What are we doing? Because I am starving hungry.
Okay, fine. I was going to do some stuff.
I'm on the grill downstairs.
I was going to do some suction stuff on the E3 that it's not hidden, but I don't think everyone really knows that it exists. So that's what I was going to do.
They're having the last oil episode.
Yeah, I know. I got to work on. I've been busy. I had to finish this one training for somebody, and then I have to finish this other training because I'm going to Jersey in 2 weeks, and I need to finish that, and I didn't. So I was doing stuff today. Jesus, stop freaking breaking my balls. Anyway, so what I did was I created 2 different suction groups, just for shites and giggles. So I'm going to go back, refrigeration, and I created this suction group. So within here, there's some settings for some of the whatchamacallit, oh my God, I can't think today, for some of the high pressure alarms. In some of the alarm stuff, there is, you know what, I'll start here because I happen to be here. So for the enables, usually we had to do a flexible combiner for all the CO2 stuff. And now within this suction group, we do not. If you look here, you have basically tell it how many load enables you need, low and medium. And so right here, this is where you would essentially attach it to whatever circuit that you're going to attach it to. And you would, put that to the enable for that, right? And then the same thing, once you do save that, down here, you'll have your times down here. So here you can actually put the amount of delay that you're going to do. Kevin, have you ever used this one, or have you always done it through the flexible combiner?
What, the delays for the
load enables? Like normally they're done
load enables?
Yeah.
I've used them on the E3. It works good.
Okay.
A lot better than doing it as a flexible combiner. It's a lot easier to see.
Yeah. So then here you can actually set your time. So like usually the first one's set for 1 minute and 30 seconds or 1 minute 50 seconds, whatever. And then here you can select the alarms that are essentially going to take out these right here. and you can just keep rolling down and keep putting in your low temp, your medium temp, your low temp, your medium temp. The only thing you'll see different with the low temp is that if you have a high temp or high pressure, high temperature suction, sometimes I think most of the companies you said they don't like turning off the enables on low superheat on the rack, Kev, because they don't want to basically shut down any of the cases and just restart the algorithm, right?
Yeah, the low superheat thing will kill it. You know what? The other killer of this thing, the only complaint I have is the low suction lockout, restarting everything. It's like almost makes like a non-resettable lockout.
So where it goes off on low suction, and it just locks out the header itself.
Yep, and locks out the load enables too. So if you don't have the low suction limit set low enough, it'll lock out on low suction, and then it locks out the load enables. And if you lock out the load enables and it locks out everything, then it locks out the iPro, then it locks it into a downward death spiral.
So it's not going to feed anything.
Yep. So we've been lowering the low suction cutouts on the medium temps. If you have a booster rack, it doesn't happen. Like, it's not an issue. It's only on the medium temp only racks where it's been an issue, and lowering the suction seems to fix it.
Okay.
The suction lockout, at least.
Gotcha. So this is how you would set up the enables and just set whatever circuits that you're going to add to this. And then, like I said, you have all your alarms that you can add. So like I said, for the low temp, high flash tank pressure, because you're putting more, basically if you're running the low temp, you're putting more load directly into the ass end of the suction, which is just going to add more load and so on and so forth, and then cause it to go off quicker. So there's that. And then over, I'm going to run this in, saving that. If you go over to the alarms, there we go, alarms. So we have high discharge limit, and then that one you can make critical or whatever. And then there's another one where there's another high discharge that you can actually set. Oh, here, high discharge limit right here. And then on the other one, the discharge trip. This is the one that you would set where it basically shuts down the rack, I believe, this one. Yeah, so you can shut down the rack on this one. So this one would be the one that's basically going to shut everything down. But you can change this. This is what I was talking about, Kev, right here. Look, did you ever see this being used, like before it goes off on high pressure? It's the gradial shutdown.
I've never used it, but MT has it where it starts limiting compressors to make up for it. It works good on MT. I'm assuming it probably works good on this too to keep it from high heading.
Yeah, so the thought is that you can limp the rack along, that if it starts going off on high pressure before it actually goes through the trip, that it's actually going to shut it down. You can run this one a little bit lower than what your actual shutdown pressure would be. So if your high pressure is set for 1550 or 1575 or whatever, you could set this one a hair lower. And so what it'll do is it'll actually start shutting down parts of the compressor. I don't know if it unloads first or what. So it said, what does it say here? If desired, a gradual shutdown after a phase loss might be used for immediate shutdown. When gradual shutdown field is on, all active compressors will be cycled off. They had satisfied on min time off delays. Otherwise, when gradient shutdown is set to off, all the compressors will shut down all at once when the phase loss occurs. So I don't know if that's actually what we're thinking it is then. I thought this was, because I thought it was supposed to
if a phase loss occurs, why would you want a gradual shutdown? You want that thing off immediately.
I agree. If desired gradient shutdown after a phase loss may be used of immediate shutdown, when a gradient shutdown field is set to on, all active compressors will be set off once they have satisfied on their min on time. So then I was wrong on this. I thought that this setting right here would essentially start staging down, whether it be like cut off 50% of the load or whatever, but apparently I was wrong. I just didn't know if you've seen this being used out there yet.
Not seen it used, the gradual shutdown. I have not seen anybody use it yet.
Gotcha. And then you said this is in the alarms here. This is where you said where you were doing the low suction pressure.
Yeah. So we were changing them to where it wouldn't cut out, or we were taking it and lowering it down to like ridiculously low, like 80, 90 pounds, where it would never hit. So that way it doesn't lock out on low suction.
This one right here, then?
Yeah.
So the pump down failure, essentially, yes?
Pump down, and there's a low suction limit too.
I'm not seeing it. Oh, okay.
Yeah, that one, that low summit, that one was what was killing us.
So this is the one that's just gonna just shut it down. So even with doing a
that
hell of a
and
delay,
the pump down delay too. Was the pump down's what shuts it down, and then the low suction is what throws the constant alarm, I believe. But a lot of them had the pump down delays. Everybody's so afraid that it's going to make dry ice, which it's not.
It's going to go off on high temperature before that, like internal temperature before it's a lot.
Oh yeah, that thing's going to cook.
That's yeah. But yeah, I'm going to have to ask now.
It's an issue that everybody's making out to be a bigger thing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's incredibly it's more difficult than I think it is easy to make dry ice. Like you really have to really okay, that whole line and the coils filled with liquid, I'm just gonna let it fly. At that point, maybe, probably.
Or in dryer shells, or dumping a flash tank.
Yeah,
or like the only times you're gonna make some dry ice. Even dumping a flash tank, it's hard.
Really? So when you dump the
big.
Yeah, when you dump the flash tank, how are you? Because I know you try to stow as much when you're doing a pump down. So like if you got to work on the flash tank, I know that you usually run the head pressure up just like you would on a regular conventional system, right? And then
I just
blow. Go ahead.
I just blow it into the or put as much in the gas cooler as I can, valve it off, and just blow it. If you got one of those fancy gas cooler bypasses, you could really make it go out of there quick. It never leaves the flash tank fast until it blows the reliefs. When it blows the reliefs, it's gone in 4 minutes. When you're trying to get it going, it's like forever.
That's a large volume, though. Like,
so
I think
I've never used the multi-low superheats in 24 hours. I've never seen anybody do it. I guess if you're doing like a lot of alarm trending, it'd be good. But if you're really looking at it, but I've never seen anybody use it. Seems like it would probably generate a lot of nuisance alarms, but at the end of the day, probably not nuisance alarms.
Yeah. Heck, max MA per day. What is that? Max tolerable multiple.
Hit the question mark.
Yeah, I did. Max tolerable number of multiple alarms per day. I don't even know what that's for. Have you ever seen that implemented?
No, sir.
I wonder if it has to do with with this. I don't know. We're gonna have to ask somebody. A repeat rate. We went through the load enables. That's another thing we can talk about. Let's do a couple stages here. Setting. General. Select stages. First stage. Yes. Make this one a digital. Now, do you do anything? I remember you said something, but I want to say something about dropping this down to maybe a little bit lower if they're all the same size, Kev?
I am a firm believer in this. It may be absolute nonsense, but it definitely seems like this has always been the case of the E2, and it seems like it's the case of the E3, is a bigger number is better. Gives it something to work with. Using CFH or CFM or BTUs, not horsepower. I never use horsepower because, and then if you have the same compressors, I will make them different size. I'll make the number one if it's 15, 15, 15, which I don't know why all these CO2 manufacturers keep doing this shit. Why can't we like get some compressor sizing back? I will go 15, 16, 17, 18. Give them different sizes. Always make, and then here's the other thing that like you need to be accountable. You need to make sure the numbers match up, and the bigger compressor needs to have a bigger number. Now, this is why I use BTUs. But one thing I will throw out here is if you're using a variable speed and you're overdriving it to 60 to 70 hertz, 75 hertz, make sure when you do the compressor capacity, you add that extra capacity into there. So it's going to be shown on the legend at 60 hertz. But make sure you add that extra capacity that you're going to gain into the equation, or else it's not going to fill the gaps when it goes to do its calculation. And as it's doing it, it's gonna pick a different compressor, or it's gonna mess up the algorithm.
I don't remember. Does the Copeland mobile app do that, or do you just take the number that's there at 60 hertz and then divide it by X and then try to figure out what the extra capacity is going to?
That's what we did last 2 times we did it. But I'm sure you could take I don't know if the Copeland mobile app does, but I know the online product selection software does.
Yeah, so you'd have to run that through there in order to get what it would be essentially at, because most of the semi-hermetics for the CO2, they can go up to 70. If correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, Zero Zone had it actually listed in the documents. So what the BTUs were at 60 hertz and what the BTUs were at 70 hertz. So that was actually nice. So it's a big deal though. So make sure it's right, and same thing with unloaders, make sure those are right, which I think that's going to be a big deal when CO2 unloaders become more prevalent.
Bitzer's doing a whole bunch of them. I haven't seen any on the Copeland semis yet.
I think digital unloading would be trash in CO2 because digital unloading and without EPRs sounds like a disaster. It sounds like it's just you're fixing one problem at the rack and making 10 more at the cases without EPRs. You need a buffer there. 100%. Like it's just, you're making choppy suction pressure makes choppy control of the cases.
True.
If 2 variables are moving at the same time, superheat and pressure, it's never going to work. Then you got your stage outs, which is no different than a normal suction group. You changed something.
No, I just hit OK. Your internet sucks today. You're lagging really bad. Elon Musk is horrible today. Let's talk about the variable capacity. Why is it not?
Okay. So on the variable capacity, I see everybody with the VS rates of 2,000 all the time, or like 4,000, ridiculous. I'm a firm believer in slower. So I like my ramp up speeds and ramp down speeds slower. 600, 500. I like my ramp down speed faster than my ramp up speed. I want it to ramp up slower. I want it to react a little bit slower because I don't want it to go way up and overshoot, way down, overshoot. I want it to go, slow up and then faster down.
So you'll see here. So this is the 1800 that has to stay at 1800. And then I think I asked Brent Cheshire when I saw him over at Seattle, and it's 2000 RPMs per minute, he said. So the faster, the higher the number, the faster it's going to react, right? And what you can do is even during startup, you could basically turn the cell rating down really low if you're just charging it through the flash tank, and then you could actually still put the decel rating, basically how fast it's going to slow down, make that really fast, so it doesn't short cycle that compressor to death. Because the VFD is still going to control the compressor as far as starting up and all that other stuff. But as far as how fast we're telling it to ramp up to the full speed or whatever, that's still via the signal, which is done via the suction group here. VS.
Now that
good.
Hold on. That just so you guys know, like the max speed and increase rates are almost like nonsense numbers, because they don't actually do anything per se. The max speed is, unless you, all right, let me back up here. Your minimum should always be programmed in your drive. Your minimum speed. Do not rely on the controller for your minimum speed. Ever. It should never be like that. For the simple reason is, if somebody overrides the AO to a lower number than that, and say you're operating a compressor at 20 hertz or 10 hertz, and you could destroy it. So your minimum speed should always be in the drive.
Mhm.
So that 1800 number, if you put 900 there, nothing would affect it because it's not actually telling the drive to go 900 RPMs.
Okay, let me ask you a question.
What it. Yep.
Today's episode is sponsored by the RefRushield RDP Series differential pressure monitors from Westermeyer Industries, now available for transcritical CO2 systems in addition to other common pressures and refrigerants. When the filter element of your coalescing oil separator is contaminated, it can hurt your system's performance and efficiency. But how do you know when it's time to replace that filter? Wait too long to replace, and you could end up with a nasty filter blowout. But replacing too often can be a waste of time and money. The answer is installing a differential pressure monitor. The RDP series differential pressure monitors, including the new transcritical CO2 model, are available now from Westermeyer Industries. To find out more information, email sales@westermeyerin.com. That's WESTERMEYERIN.com.
No, all I was going to say is so they have something similar to the on the gas cooler, and they have the minimum RPM set for 900 on the fans, and they have the full at 1800 for the gas cooler fans. And you could see, like, when you were measuring the AO, it was only going down to 50%. I don't know if that's different via the gas cooler versus the suction. But when I saw it, like, it was because it was going down to 50% and then literally just shutting off. It was going outside of what it was supposed to be.
Yeah, that's obviously a programming issue. Like, it's the way they have it set up. A 900 RPM minimum is insane.
But you said the max speed really doesn't. It just basically is just telling you how fast it's going, because the VFD essentially is still going to tell it what it's really going to do. I think it's just there for.
So remember, if you have, sorry, I'm lagging so bad. I'm sorry.
That's all right.
I didn't mean to talk over you. So if you have an 1800, the larger the number, and the larger ranges can operate in. So if you have it at 1800 and your ramp up is 200, it's going to take longer to get there than it is if your max is 900. You're increasing that range that it runs in.
Gotcha. So they're basically how fast it's getting to the 1800.
Correct. It's all like a play thing, like how you're going to play with it. Me personally, with compressors, I prefer slow, in fans too, slower ramping.
You're less likely to overshoot, right?
Yeah.
We'll go through real quick. We'll go through the hot gas injection. Or no,
Yeah,
is this MST? No, is that defrost? Next digital output, hot gas. Yeah, I'm sorry, that's hot gas defrost. I did not put it in there, I don't think. Stages, heat reclaim. Where the hell is it? Medium temp. Settings. Oh, here we go. Hot gas injection set point 10. So that'd be 10 degrees of superheat. And then there's your liquid injection for 5. Obviously, we'd probably want to change those. Oh, wait, no, this is. Wait a minute. No, liquid injection. Here we go. Liquid injection. Here we go. Liquid injection set point 50 degrees. Yeah, I'm probably okay with that. We don't want to short cycle the hell out. Yeah, a lot of the flexible miners are like, what are they, 50? And
I turn that shit down to 35, 40. Cold compressors are better compressors.
I agree. And so here's your hot gas injection set point, which, what is that doing?
10 seems awful low.
Yeah, what the yeah, it must. Yeah, so it's talking about superheat because we have delta F, right? So that's no, I don't like that. Probably
that's bad. That's oil go bye-bye.
I do 18. I like 18. And what, maybe if you think we put it to 7, it would short cycle. 3? Really? No, I'm just wondering, like, how bad it would short cycle.
It's not an SS. It's not an SSR.
Is it? It's not on a CDS 9. No, those aren't those the ones. Those are the high deck solenoids. Yeah, typically.
Yeah.
So, and then the outputs would be over yonder for both of those. You said you've had luck here? There you go. Liquid injection. There we go. This is where we would tie it right to the output in order to make that run, and then expanded information. So I didn't know this existed until a couple days ago. Liquid injection. So you can actually see how many times that it actually runs, like how many cycles it has, cycles today. So you could take this and put this into a counter and put it in like an analog memory just for a counter, then just to see if it's cycling more than what it typically does, right?
Correct.
You look at the pictures I sent you earlier.
And my wife's telling me dinner's done, and smells good.
We can stop if you want. We'll stop right here.
No, we're gonna keep going. I've ate cold dinner 3 nights in a row, so
Stop it. All right, so we have the liquid injection here. We also have the hot gas. So this is where you would tie it to the output that you were going to. And same thing here. You could actually utilize this to see. You could actually put this on a counter and see what it runs. Let's just say it runs 30 times a day. And if it runs higher than that, you could set it up some kind of counting so you could do an alarm. Maybe you could see if you have.
You don't even have to do a counter. Like it does it for you.
No, but you could tie it to an alarm, right? Because I don't see anything here. Oh wait, low MA account. What's that? I don't know what low MA account. Oh, low multiple suction. Okay. No, what I was saying is to say it's been running 30 times a day for however long. You could say that if it starts running 50, and you know that you got some kind of issue where you got some kind of flood back coming back, right? Before it actually becomes a super issue.
It's on all day.
Never. All right. Well, what other things have you played around with here? You got the hot gas. That's
one.
God.
Debug. Is that a new screen? I've never seen that. Go to debug. Debug. What is it?
Active alarm, medium temp, load enable. I don't know. There's no question mark. Why is there not a question mark?
I've never seen a screen before. This needs to be something new. Go to advanced, Brett. I want to go over like one thing that I've seen under advanced. Show. No, keep going to hit the side arrow.
It won't go any farther.
Click. Oh, normal. Go to normal. That's where it is.
There we go.
Normal.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So tightest control. Why is it not showing everything?
I don't know. I'm in advanced. I think this is a newer version.
You're missing like a whole. Really? Because there's a whole bunch of stuff going.
Really?
Yeah, because usually there's like waiters and everything else in here. Remember that one screen with the. Pause the recording for a second. All right, so it's under.
All right, so it took us a little bit to find it.
Smart capacity ramping, and now go to normal.
There's no question mark, so it doesn't tell you what it is. But here's all your settings.
So, from what I understand, this is how it sets up the control strategy. So you have a minimum on time for compressor, minimum off time, delay changes in between stages, delay on unit changes between stages, delay must change, delay time to set point. So these are all waiter timers to help you wean this thing out from having such bad control, like in hunting. So it gives you like a little bit of a buffer, like MT does or Danfoss does. So it's a little bit more to messing around with this, but it gives you a little bit more control over other stuff. This is some stuff that we have messed around with, but I will say this: where is it? So we've changed some of the abandons, and then we've changed. I've been changing the weight Yeah. The weight compressor, where is it?
Unloading.
Weight
That one?
unloader, weight compressor unit. That one. I've been changing that to 0.20, and we've had pretty good luck with it smoothing stuff out with cycling.
The weighting applied to a qualified compressor whose unloading addition would equal the desired rate. No idea. I'm assuming
Yeah,
it's part of
then-
it's part of the PNID algorithm, right?
correct. Yeah. And then we've also changed some of the delay timers to mess around with them if you need a little bit faster or slower. But we've been changing stuff on this. And there used to be a tab on here. I don't see it on here anymore. It was a weight of compressor change. So there was an unloader weight, a compressor weight, and then there was a VFD weight. Obviously, they've updated this and they've probably made it better and removed some of the complexity out of this. So it seems like it's a lot more canned and better, probably.
Mm-hmm. So this would be if essentially the compressor it went above its set point when got with outside of its dead band, then it's probably going to wait. I'm assuming 36 seconds before it makes that change. If I had to guess,
And we've changed the delayed changes. I've changed it way less than 36 seconds. So I've brought it down to 20 seconds, 10 seconds, because you wanted to make changes a lot faster than that. 36 seconds on a CO2 rack, a lot could happen. The BGV could open up in 36 seconds and just smash the suction group with a lot of pressure. So like 5 seconds, 10 seconds. 10 seconds is a lot. 5 seconds I've seen just calm the racks down immensely. Because if you're able to make the changes and it's able to react to that VFD, then you're not going to have as many issues. Obviously, these are canned settings, and canned settings never. It's not a one size fits all. Everything has to be tailored to the application. But the delay changes is something that we've been changing like down really low, and we've had really good success with smoothing the suction group out.
So I'm going to be the voice of reason here, and I would say don't make this your first go-to, right? Everything else has to be tuned before we start trying to get if the suction is really all over the place, yes, but make sure you don't have a shit ton of stuff going into defrost and coming out all at the same time. Make sure you don't have any unnecessary cycling on the HPV and the BGV or the gas cooler and the gas cooler fans.
Hold up here, because
Go ahead.
those can be directly related to the suction group. If the compressors are cycling, the BGV is going to be cycling, and the HPV is going to be cycling. It's the chicken or the egg with this. Sometimes I will start with the suction group in defrost before I even try to rein in the BGV or HPV, because you're wasting your time trying to do it the other way. Because one's chasing the other.
Yeah, you're right. Because essentially the size of the BGV is going to change with what the pressure drop's doing across, right? All right.
And then the same thing with the HPV. It's going to be hunting as the compressors are turning on and off.
Damn, why is there so much stuff? Just so much shit. Anything else that you want to go over? So you said we just found this, but I don't know what is this? Active Omar? I don't know what debugging is.
Oh, go to associations real quick.
Ooh.
No, associations. Wait. Top associations next to hot gas. To the right.
Yeah,
right
thank you.
So this is where you could associate your condenser, your CO2 discuses, your drives, you got them, your circuits. So he's putting a gas cooler in there, your number of lead circuits, which this is nice because you could change it from more than just one, like the E2 was for a float, and you don't have to make any more fake floats. You could do multiple circuits in there. And then the other thing is, it's nice is you got your discus compressors in here. You can boom, knock them out real quick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever it is. For if your discus compressor control for your, do you have a discus compressor controller in there, or no? Like their high temp control.
I don't know what you're talking about.
like the core sense for the CO2 compressors.
Do I have it in here?
Yeah. Do you have it? Go to Discus. Discus. Up. Discus. Yeah. Add it. Go into it. I'll show you how to reset these remotely.
Okay, Discus. I'm here.
So go to inputs. If it's tripped off on discharge temp, go to inputs. Okay. So go to you're in edit. So see where it says alarm reset in. You change it from off to on. Just click it there. Okay. Request next one
Reset
below it.
request
Click
in.
that to on.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And then hit save.
Mm-hmm.
Hit okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then wait like 10 seconds and then change them both back to off. That is how you reset these Discus compressors remotely if they lock out on high discharge temp. Obviously, you need to figure out why it locked out on high discharge temp, but back rolling from your phone or your computer before you actually get somebody out there. So that's one thing to keep in mind if you have these and they're locked on discharge temp.
So what I'm wondering
then
is,
if you go back to hit save.
no, I want to see something real quick. So there's no like remote reset that you could do as far as an in, right?
You could point to it. No, you could point to it.
Where is that going to come up?
So go to inputs.
I did. Oh, right
So
here.
see, hit the arrow. Yep. Yeah, you could make it a point.
Oh, okay. So you could actually.
You could make it you can put a push button on a rack if you wanted to, or
Yeah, or I'm sure you could do something where like you try to, if it goes off on high discharge temp doesn't shut it down though, right?
Yeah, it does.
No,
yes, it does. Yes, it does.
it does.
On the Discus compressors, it does.
Ooh, okay.
So
Never mind then.
yeah, it'll lock out, then start, lock out and start, then finally it'll hard lock out. But that's how you restart them.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I've never went into the Discus on the A3. Is all this stuff new, or is that the debug and the debug CM?
I've never seen the debug stuff. I really never paid attention to it, but because most of the time I'm just in there resetting them or looking at the data
Mm-hmm.
or the inputs and looking at the discharge graph.
Gotcha.
It's a really good control for that. So it is nice having that on there and having the discharge temp. But also you got to remember the discharge temps are actual compressor discharge temps. They aren't line temps. Your line temps are going to be lower. The lockout may be like 310 on those, but you got to remember you're going to lose like 60, 70 degrees.
Mhm.
It's measuring the inner head temp. So your line temps are going to be 60, 70 degrees less. So if it's reading 250, 260 on the controller, it's like 200 degrees. Yeah, that's not great, but it's not horrible for CO2.
I was talking to the other Canadian today, and he said he was going to grab someone to have us go through the E3 with some of the more detailed stuff, so we'll be able to ask him like what the hell the debug stuff is for, because I've never ever seen it. And then we're having that one cat from Zero Zone on, and I don't know, I haven't even talked to him about what we're going to talk about, but we're going to talk about something. I think we're going to record on the 28th or something. So
Sounds good.
all right, go eat. I know you're starving. Talk to you guys later.